Exclusive news and stories from the Gambia. Stay informed and stay ahead with our expert analysis. And open your YouTube app, click the search bar and type GMEB TV. Open the channel and click subscribe. Hit the notification. Welcome to GMEB TV, your go-to source for exclusive news and stories from the Gambia. Stay informed.
Interface with them. Discuss, one, some of the feedbacks we are getting. We've also been visiting schools, private schools. There are things we observe. Yes, we might have been telling them as we visit schools, but we all want to come together and discuss some of those feedbacks with them. And more importantly, the things that they are doing right or doing good that we think we could learn from, we'll also engage them and see how we improve on our own in terms of the way we run our public schools, without going into more details.
Yes, I was coming to see to talk about that because looking at the GABECE results, private schools outnumber the government schools. So what do you think that the private school is doing right that the government school is not doing?
My colleague was, thank you very much. It's a very good question, but it's a multifaceted. First of all, in the private schools, you have more control against the public schools. Because the public schools, for example, if I want to discipline a teacher, it's a process. In private school, the headmaster can decide there and then and take a decision. Two, the class sizes in our public schools cannot be compared with the class sizes in the private schools. For example, let's take one of our public schools where you have a class size of about 50 in grade 9. If you go to the nearest private school, maybe it's 20 something or less than 20. Obviously, the contact time between the teacher and the student, the interaction is greater, and many other issues. The teachers are coming all from the Gambia, correct? That's something we all agree, or from the University of the Gambia. But the management sometimes also contributes a very significant factor as far as performance is concerned. And like I said, in the public schools, it takes time to discipline the teacher. It takes time to get things started. Private schools open on the 23rd they started class. For our public schools, 23rd you go, maybe it's only the head teacher and 2 other teachers who are there. They're telling you we don't have this, I have to have my salary, I have to go and do this, I will need transport to take us, lots of excuses. But the problem mainly, and it's us Gambians, nobody, we the Gambians, attitudinal change. That's the hard fact. You go into the private sector, 8 o'clock you should be at work. In the public sector you go at 9. Because you know that in the private sector, if I am late, I can be disciplined there and then. In the public sector, it's a process. So these are some of the issues. But definitely, it's something that we are trying to address, and you have seen significantly we are trying to catch up with them. Thank you.
Maybe just to add on to what he said, when we resumed school on the 23rd, the private schools opened school before that. And I was fortunate to have visited a couple of private schools on the day that they opened school. I went around a couple of them. I saw what was there. When we opened on the 23rd, I also visited schools the same day. And I saw what also existed in our public schools. In fact, the second day, the Honorable Minister, Professor Pierre Gomez, also visited schools and saw. So like he said, we must be committed to what we do collectively. Education is not a one-man show. I can be doing my best as an individual, but unless we collectively do our best, we will continue to have those gaps. you realize that even before we opened schools, we had to ensure that salaries were paid, failure of which the teachers might have found it difficult to get to their posts. And we want to commend the government for at least paying the salaries of teachers much earlier than the rest of the public servants in this country, or the civil servants. We appreciate us as a ministry, and we want to support them on that, and thank them very much for this.
Yes, just to around I'm looking at the students' results that are always withheld. We've seen the worst results. Almost 28 candidates' results have been withheld. And still now we have no information about them, whether their results will be cancelled or so. And here also we have about 12. So is the ministry has any power, to hasten wire so that they will release, whatever is going to be, given to the students whose results are withheld?
Go ahead. You see, I'm not very comfortable with the word power. Authority is given to an individual for that individual to use it wisely as and when it is required. I spoke to you about the independence of work. If we ask work, for example, hasten them to look at these results and release them, and they decide not to do the proper check on those results, but because they are pressed by the ministry or the powers that may be, and they decide to give all those students, for example, in case of WAS, aggregate 9. These are the same students who will transit to higher education and begin to find difficulty in pursuing some of the careers they might have been taking, deciding to choose them. So we can speak to them, but the use of power is where I have a challenge. We can still raise and mention our concern in terms of them working with the respective students to clear their result, but we will not force them. We will not really put pressure such that they don't do what is required for them. That we will try to avoid, because we want every result that is being produced or being given to a student is the true reflection of the student's academical efforts. That's our desire as a ministry. If you possess all your subjects one, and you go to the university, for example, and you are to do maths, for example, or science, and in the first semester, it's all F. Second semester, it's all F. What is that suggesting? Something might have gone wrong with those results that were given to you. And we are very, very careful about that, because we want the results to be the true reflections of the individual students' academic performance.
Thank you. No, just want to throw light on the issue of the public-private comparison on performance. It fluctuates. It doesn't mean that the private would always top the public schools every year. No. Like if we had shown you the comparison on the students with aggregate 6, 2023 and 2024, you will see that last year, 21 students from the public schools had aggregate 6, while 20 in the private schools have aggregate 6. So it fluctuates. These are all our the students under our purview, and the performance may just sway in one way or the other. And on the issue of the retention of results by WAEC, you need to also, we also need to know that when you use a scattered plot to determine the performance of students, there is what we call an outlier. All right, you might see a student who outperformed all the others, and you want to know why. Not because the student has cheated or has what we call spying or so, no. But you are doubting the child's performance. It doesn't mean the child cannot get that performance, but you want to prove by going through the records of the child's performance and be able to know that, yes, this is the result that the child deserves. So it is always for the positive. It is not always for the negative. And WIAC, as Pierre said, is an entity, all right? Remember, it's an international organization, well accredited in terms of conducting exams. So they have their own liberty to do their investigations and release the results at their own pace. But it's a positive move.
Thank you very much, Director Gomez. Any other question? It seems like the presentation has explained virtually all what you wanted to know. Okay. Thank you very much, Ed. Just hold on a second, Mr. Gomez. Thank you.
Yes. No, this is just the last table that I showed in terms of the aggregate scores. This is the cleanest version that we'll be sharing with you.
Can you, why? Can you elaborate as to why is the students not really start for the exam? Because the number is huge, and it's 483.
Out of the 30,000.
Out of this.
Okay, maybe next question. We take 2 questions and then the other one.
Any other question, please?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. My name is Nelson.
Yes.
From Korea. In terms of the subject analysis, you have seen that mathematics continue to be a challenge. All the other subjects, especially the core subjects, are growing, but maths continue to be a challenge. What is the ministry doing in terms of making sure that students improve in maths?
Okay. Thank you very much, Piers.
Thank you. I would want to start with the first question. When we have candidates in grade 12, in grade 9, we expect that all of them should sit to the exam. And therefore, we register the candidates to sit to exams. But on the day of the exams, some candidates could choose to avoid going, or could be absent, or could travel, or could be sick, or anything could happen. Some of them, I don't want to talk about the sad one, may die in the process before the exams. So that's why we always indicate in our data, this number registered for these exams. However, it is only this number that sat to the exams on the day of exams. I will give an example. I went to visit during the conduct of WAS some years ago, and I met up a student, and I asked him in the street, what do you have today? He says, I'm free. And guess, this was the second day of the exams. Guess what paper was that? Maths. So that passing registered, but did not sit to the exams. That is why we indicate, we're showing you that that is the number. However, the 483 that you quoted is not those who did not sit to the exams. No.
Those that missed them, yes.
Those are the students whom WEC have found some difficulty in assessing them. Remember, I told you, we want to ensure that every child that sat to that exam is properly assessed. And if any of your grades, or if they found out something is missing that they need to review to ensure they give you the proper grade, they will hold your results until that is done. Those that are withheld, in most cases, are those that they suspect some examination malpractices. Either they would have realized that my examination paper answers is the same with Mr. Job, is the same with Mr. Gomez, is the same with Mr. Ture. In that case, they would keep those papers because they are suspecting examination malpractices. And we don't interfere as a ministry. Until they are able to clean it up at that level, at the WEC exam, we cannot interfere. That is the number that we have indicated there. Okay. For your question. Coming to Nelson's question, it's a very good question and we're very concerned about it. I am sure you must have, as media colleagues, You must have been confronted with a lot of teachers this year talking about the postings, very unprecedented. One of the reasons for this kind of posting is to ensure that teacher distribution and teacher placement is done properly. If people do not want to go to the rural Gambia to teach maths, what do you expect those students in those rural schools to score when it comes to maths? If all the maths teachers or the best maths teachers are staying around in Greater Banjul, we will have a challenge. That's the more reason why, as a ministry, teacher placement is a great concern for us, and we do not negotiate in most cases in terms of accepting people to reject their postings. 2021, we were able to get a graduate in maths, science, and physics to Bolibana School. Bolibana is the poorest school in this country, very disadvantaged. But what that is telling you is that the students in Bolibana now will be exposed to the concept of mathematics, science, and physics, and so on and so forth. So what we are doing is, one, we're giving scholarship. Anybody who comes to us for science, the science subjects, including maths, your scholarship is generally given to you. We frown at those other subjects, because we know there are indications that if I study, for example, law, in the long run, I will not remain a teacher. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
If I study business, in the long run, or finance and banking and finance, in the long run, I may not remain a teacher. So we do not support those teachers over the science students. So that's one of the things that we are doing. We're giving scholarship for them, encouraging them to study. And that's the more reason why government, some years ago, had to have a college in GABECE. People would not need to travel all the way to come to this end. And any student that gets admission or is ready to go to GABECE College, through MRC Holland, we give you scholarship straight away, full scholarship, full bond scholarship, as a way of encouraging people to study maths, to be able to teach in the rural Gambia or in the disadvantaged schools across the country. Those, among others, are the efforts that the ministry is doing to promote maths. I'm sure you are aware about the Fanta Maths, Fanta Science that we are doing with some other initiatives. That's the law that we are trying to do to encourage people for maths.
So just a follow-up.
Yes.
With regards to the students' results that are held, how long will it take for them to get their results back?
As long as the council, West African Examination Council, clears them with them. Like I said, we are interested to ensure that the council works on releasing them, but we will not in any way influence their process of assessing students. That we will not do. So the students or the schools have the obligation to ensure that those withheld results are processed accordingly. In terms of the results that are held because of examination malpractice, they are subjected to a review by a committee that is established locally with the membership. The membership is where the ministry and the stakeholders, like Conference of Principals, University of the Gambia, among others. It's just not one person that looks at Mr. Job's paper and say, yes, he collided with Mr. Mendy. No, it's a collection of stakeholders that look at it. So it's not only WEG. WEG is there, Conference of Principals is there, University of the Gambia is there, and other stakeholders that sit over these documents, these results, review them, and if they found them to be true that yes, they had some examination malpractices, they will decide either one, to cancel your entire results for the year, and now you become a private citizen, or maybe they cancel the results for that particular subject. It depends on the magnitude of the malpractice that they may find during the review of those results. That's what happens.
Okay, I have another.
As a region. Okay. So I thought I should share that with you so that you look at the different regional dynamics. On the core subject, as you can also see, constantly growth has been maintained in all the subjects, in some of the subjects, particularly SES. SES, as you can see, has been constant, 46.8%. The strategies that the ministry has employed this academic year, starting next week, is to mainstream the EI strategy into the public schools. And we are starting with 61 schools as a pilot across the country, but mainly in 2 regions, Region 3 and Region 5 North. The data in all aspects has indicated that Region 5 North is the most challenged region in terms of all the variables, even the recent census that is done. So what that is requiring us to do is to have more investment in that region. That's where we are piloting the EI strategy in those schools. Yes, there are a couple of public schools that are doing well. We also need to look at those public schools. What is the leadership, the management doing in those schools that the other schools are not doing? What are the teachers in those schools doing what the other teachers are not doing, to be able to make sure that we improve on this? So there is need for us to invest more to be able to get to the bottom of what we are doing and why we are doing what we are doing. That's one of the things that I wanted to share with you. But there is a second table that I would want you to look at. Yes.
If you need clarification, please come forward. And thank you, and see you next day, inshallah. Can we close with prayers again?
Welcome to GMEB TV, your go-to source for exclusive news and stories from the Gambia. Stay informed and stay ahead with our expert analysis. Open your YouTube app, click the search bar and type GMEB TV.